Welcome back, Film Force fans. His name is Jordan Wiltshire, and today he is
giving you an Aussie's opinion on why The Last Jedi haters are wrong.
The Force is strong with this one.
So most of you have probably seen The Last Jedi by now. I myself have seen it twice. A few of my friends have seen it twice. And still they hate it. I do not understand why. I respect their opinion, but sometimes my brain is like, they hate it? Seriously? I don't understand. So, in this video, I'm going to be giving you my opinion why their criticism of The Last Jedi does not affect me as it affects them. And hopefully, maybe, you never know, make them change their minds. I doubt that will happen. So, just to give you a bit of background, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You can tell by the Wookiee mug I just had. You can tell by this poster. You can tell by everything I know about Star Wars and all the Star Wars videos I do. But the thing you should also know is my friends are also huge Star Wars fans. Not as much as me. They haven't read the expanded universe because they had a life during their childhood. So me and my friends all saw it at midnight showings, but because I've moved away from home, I saw it on my own and they all saw it together. Which is a good thing because I may have gotten into a fist fight with them if I'd actually been with them, considering their opinions.
I think it was a piece of shit.
Without further ado, let's start breaking down their criticism and telling you why they are wrong. Okay, the first one we're going to go for is the comedy. There's a lot of comedy in The Last Jedi, I agree with that. Okay, but the reason why I don't have an issue with it, apart from one tiny bit of it, is it is better than Jar Jar Binks. Most of the comedy lands. We have Poe Dameron, when he's on hold with Hux. That works because we already set up Poe Dameron as that sort of person in The Force Awakens when he was having that type of discussion with Kylo Ren saying, do you talk first? Do I talk first? We didn't have an issue with that. So why do we have an issue with some of the comedy that Poe Dameron does? I don't. I think he was absolutely fine with the comedy. Then we have the Porgs. Was there a few too many Porgs? Maybe, but I loved the Chewie scene with him trying to eat a Porg and the Porg looking at him. I loved the Porg flying into the windscreen in the Millennium Falcon. I didn't mind the Porgs because I didn't think they were totally overdone. They were sort of at the limit of use. But the one comedy thing that I do agree slightly with my friends is the fish maids. The fish maids on the island. Why? Rey shows up, we don't see them at all, and then the next day she turns around and there's all these fish maids there. It's like, it looked like a scene out of The Wind of the Willows or Peter Rabbit or something. It wasn't needed. Why make them these weird comical fish maids that wouldn't have been out of place in the Teletubby TV series? Then there was the slapstick of that rock hitting the wheelbarrow. That wasn't needed. I agree with my friends on that. But apart from the fish maids, I think all the other comedy worked and landed well and kept and broke up the darkness of some of the elements in the film. We had a big issue of underusing Snoke by killing him. Were we expecting that? No, and that's why I liked it. Another friend says it's too predictable. Were you predicting that? No, you were not. None of us was predicting that Snoke would die in this film. Maybe in the 9th film. It came out of nowhere, and I couldn't believe it. Yes, we didn't see much of Snoke, but a bit we did showed us how powerful he was. So when he did die, it became even more surprising. And it showed just how powerful Kylo Ren is and why Luke is afraid of him. So, if you actually think about it, it all works really well together. Yes, would I like to see more of Snoke? I would love to see more of Snoke. And I think we will. I don't think he's actually dead. But more on that later in another video probably. When I'm having another argument with Josh, most likely, on our theories for episode 9. But they showed how powerful he was when he used the lightning to attack Ren, when he threw Hux across the spaceship, and he was nothing but a hologram in that scene. It showed how powerful he was. And yes, would I love to know more about Snoke? Yes, I would. But we didn't know much about the Emperor when we first actually saw him in episode 6. We saw a tiny bit in episode 4 on the hologram screen and episode 5, but until episode 6 we didn't know much about him, and we still liked him as a villain. We didn't have that issue, maybe because there wasn't the internet back then, but enough of that. So why do we have an issue that we don't know about Snoke? Probably because we were wanting to know about Snoke because it was all set up in The Force Awakens, and there was loads of mysteries, and we were all fan-fearing. Oh, he's Darth Plagueis. Oh, he's someone from the unknown. Oh, no, he's actually the Emperor Reborn. No, he's the Chosen One Reborn. He's Anakin. He's the Stormtrooper who got his head hit on the blast door, and that's why there's a huge scar. No, he's Jet Porkins come back to life. No, he's Mace Windu. That's where all the scars are. Sprouting out these ridiculous fan theories, some of them more ridiculous than others. And it got our hopes up that we'd learn he was like a mysterious guy. He's actually Ezra from Rebels. All these things. Well, maybe just Snoke is Snoke. Maybe that's the big reveal. And that moves us perfectly onto the other reveal that some people didn't like that much, is that Rey's parents were nobodies. But is that true? We don't know. That could still be answered in Episode 9, like the Snoke theory. The person who told her that they were nothing was Kylo Ren, who can't really be trusted that well, can he? And then we have the fact that we haven't actually seen them yet. For all we know, they were nobodies who were descended from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You never know. But then the same issue we have with Rey's parents' theory is because all from Force Awakens. It stems all this. We were predicting, oh, Luke's her father. No, Leia and Han are her parents. No, she's a descendant of Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, she's the Chosen One reborn. She's Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter. And all these things that most likely were never going to come true. And it got our hopes up. So when the truth was revealed, some of us might have been a bit disappointed. But if it was Luke Skywalker's kid, we would have had loads of criticism saying, oh, that's Luke wouldn't have abandoned his child, or it makes the universe smaller. But no matter what they would have done, Star Wars fans would kick off about it. Some of them have. And I'm not one of them. I didn't mind that. Would I love to see something happen in Episode 9? Yes. But if it doesn't, fine. The next one a lot of people have issue with is Leia. How they handled Leia. A few of my friends, namely Sam Lawrence and Josh and Jake, were like, why didn't they kill Leia in that scene rather than have her do the Mary Poppins bit? One thing is, they'd already filmed it all and written the film before she'd unfortunately died. Should they have changed the film? I don't think so, because if they'd killed General Leia then, we wouldn't have got all the great moments of General Leia, and us as fans would have been like, they got rid of her early, and we didn't get to see General Leia on screen. We barely saw her in Force Awakens. We wanted more of her. And unfortunately, she was going to have a bigger role in Episode 9. But with the late timing with the late Carrie Fisher passing, that's not possible. But they kept to the script, and I'm glad they didn't change anything. You're criticising the Force because what did you all say about that scene?
How the Force works?
But do we actually know how the Force works? Yes, George Lucas tried to explain it with midichlorians. I'm glad I didn't mention that. None of us know what the Force is. All we know is it can do stuff like send Force lightning, it can push, it can pull, it can do all those things. And that the Jedi wield it. Now, Luke gives us the best description of the Force we've ever had. It's the Force binds the universe together. That's all we need to know. The Force is a mystery. They don't need to explain it. The Force can do many different things. And the reason I didn't have a huge issue with General Leia's Mary Poppins moment is they sort of taken some of that from Expanded Universe. Jason Solo, who's Leia's son in the Expanded Universe, uses the Force to keep him alive when a planet is atmosphere is destroyed and it all goes vacuum, like space, and his friends send heat and energy in the Force, and he uses it to envelop himself to keep him warm and keep him alive. Does that sound very similar? It does. And now everyone's like, well, Leia doesn't use the Force. She's related to Luke Skywalker, who has been shown to be one of the most powerful Force users to ever live.
You have a power I don't understand and could never have.
You're wrong, Leia. You have that power too. In time, you'll learn to use it as I have. The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. And my sister.
She has the Force. Yet maybe we haven't seen her. And we were asking the question, are we going to see Leia use the Force? Yes, we are, but in not the way we expected. And that's why I love The Last Jedi. It took our expectations and subverted them.
This is not going to go the way you think.
It was a big risk, but it wasn't predictable, and that's another of my friend's criticism. It's predictable. Killing Snoke was predictable. Leia using Force like Mary Poppins was predictable. The Luke Skywalker scene, how he came and saved them all at the end, the way they did it, was predictable. No way was it predictable. Predictable would have been if he'd come in on his X-Wing, flying through, shooting down the staff, the TIE fighters, jumped out of the X-Wing, and jumped onto the shuttle where Kylo Ren was, sliced through that with a lightsaber, and killed Kylo Ren. That would have been predictable. We were all expecting him to come like a hero. He even says it himself. Do you expect him to just ride in with a lightsaber? He does do that, but not in the way we expect. And then, so they not only showed us more of what the Force can do with Leia, they showed us how powerful the Force is with Luke. And that's another criticism people had. That's not our Luke Skywalker. Well, our Luke Skywalker is 30 years older than he was. People change after a while, especially with the things that have happened to Luke. Luke wouldn't try to kill his nephew. How many of us have had a split-second thought that we acted on and then instantly regretted? That was Luke. He sensed darkness in him. He sensed power. And he thought, I must end it now so I don't have another Darth Vader. Pulled out his lightsaber and then said, wait, what am I doing? I cannot do this. Kylo Ren wakes up, sees Luke about to kill him. He doesn't. He has the darkness. Luke doesn't. Luke stops the darkness. Kylo Ren immediately thinks the worst rather than questioning, hey, Uncle, what are you doing? Is this a test? He tries to kill Luke. And then Luke can't forgive himself for causing Kylo Ren to being the catalyst that started Kylo Ren down his dark path in a while, even though he was already on a dark path, and cuts himself off from the Force. They're like, oh, Luke wouldn't do that. Jedi wouldn't cut himself off from the Force. But if I remember correctly, one of the most popular Star Wars games, called Knights of the Old Republic 2, had a Jedi exile who'd been cut off from the Force. None of us had an issue with that. Ulic Qualdroma from the Tales of the Last Jedi comics in the Expanded Universe turned to the dark side after killing a Jedi and then eventually being brought back to the light side by his former love. He goes into exile and has been cut off from the Force until eventually redeeming himself and then vanishing in his robes once he dies. Does that sound familiar? It had already been done in the Expanded Universe, and none of us who read it, only about me and maybe 5 other people, didn't have an issue with that. So why is so many people having an issue with Luke having some dark side thoughts? We've all had dark side thoughts. I have had dark side thoughts. That seems unlikely, I know, but I have. So I've addressed those. Maybe you don't think I've addressed them, but I think I've addressed those ones reasonably well. Why I personally do not have an issue with them. Next, we move on to another thing that my friends have had an issue with. Nothing apparently happened in the film. There was nothing, no consequences. Apart from, I don't know, Luke Skywalker is now at one with the Force, Snoke's dead, Kylo Ren is now the Supreme Leader, so it's now the whole of the galaxy is basically in control of a person still going through puberty. And then we have the fact that there's only about 20 people in the Resistance left. Rey's now a Jedi. No, not much happened, you're right. Is there still a Resistance? Yes. Has the Resistance changed? Yes. Has the First Order changed? They're now led by 2 bumbling idiots, Kylo Ren and General Hux. Okay, quite a bit has changed rather than the power of Supreme Leader Snoke. Another issue people have is the Canto Bight storyline. Now, my friend Josh, he had an issue with it because it was too much. It was too Earth-like with the casinos, and the casino looked too Earth-like. Yeah, okay, I can give him that, but it was meant to show a rich area, a rich casino. A casino is a casino. Even if you make it sci-fi, it's still going to look like a casino. Another person had an issue with the animal cruelty storyline. Okay, maybe was a bit hit over the head. Only slightly. It was a small storyline in a huge movie. Would I want to change it? Maybe slightly, but I like the fact that they take these things from our culture and change them with sci-fi. We had gladiatorial fights in Attack of the Clones. We had chariot racing as pod racing in episode 1, and now we've had gambling and horse racing in The Last Jedi. And would I have loved to see more Star Wars games, Pazak and Sabak? Yes, but a card game looks like a card game. Unless they actually say, oh, we're playing Sabak or Pazak, they can't exactly show it. Another thing that I know my friends have problems with is the fact that, oh, it's all a bunch of coincidences that's managed to lead the storyline into where it goes. Like, there's only one man in the galaxy that can help them, apart from one they randomly meet in a prison. And he just so happens to do it, even though Mad said there's only one person who can help them. Well, no, she didn't say that. Were you watching the movie? She said, there's only one man I trust who can help you. You can slice the code. She said, there's only one man who I trust to help you. In the sense that there's plenty of people to do it, but there's only one man she trusts that will definitely help them without breaking loyalty. And look what happens. They don't get the man she trusts. They get some random person in a prison. And, oh wait, he betrays their loyalty. It was all set up. It was all set up. And everyone complains about it. Was DJ slightly annoying? Yeah. But they needed that to get Finn on to start a story, to have that confrontation with Phasma that we'd all been wanting in the previous film. And some people say, oh, the new characters were sidelined for the old characters. But we were saying in The Force Awakens that we didn't get enough of the old characters apart from Han. And now when we get more Luke and Leia, we all complain that we didn't get enough of the new characters. Star Wars fans are never happy, are we? No, we're not. We literally, anything they would have done, this film was going to be decisive. There's no way about it. It was going to be decisive. But I think they gave just enough to the old characters and the new characters. Finn got a confrontation with Phasma. Poe got a great storyline going through, coming from this trigger-happy flyboy to someone who's actually, at the end, calls a retreat. He doesn't go for glory. He tries to save his people. And it is being set up to be a future leader of the rebellion. Now, my one issue with The Last Jedi that no one has mentioned is Akbar. He died with only one line. How dare they? Hashtag justice for Akbar. R.I.P. Akbar. Okay? All he had to say was, it's a trap, and I would have died a happy man. Okay? He didn't even say it's a trap in the last film when there was a trap. Okay? He died in a trap, and he didn't get to say it's a trap. Moving on from my Akbar obsession. People say this was just a chase scene. Okay, it was just a chase movie, like a very slow chase movie, with a few storylines going off and down. The Admiral, they didn't like the pink-haired Admiral. She was one of the best parts, I'd say. Her and Poe Dameron's storyline was great. She didn't care about being the hero. She was just interested in keeping the Resistance alive. People will have differing views. This is a Resistance. It's not a formal military in a way. So I didn't mind that storyline. Would I have preferred it to be Akbar rather than Admiral Holdo in that position? Yes, I would. That should have been it. Justice for Akbar. So, okay. I need to stay away from Akbar because I just get sad when I think about him. And finally, let's move on to the final lightsaber battle, or not lightsaber battle, that we had. People had an issue with it. Like, why was there a lightsaber fight? Oh, they didn't like Luke brushing off his shoulder. How did Luke survive that? Because he wasn't actually there. And why should Luke fight Kylo Ren? Luke's so much more powerful. He showed it by dodging his strikes. Kylo Ren was an angry little boy who was just slashing and slashing. Luke wasn't in any danger. Instead of, fighting him back and possibly getting too close to him, he dodged the shots. And we thought he was there at that point, okay? I thought it was great because he was showing, I'm not messing around with you. I'm way better than you. And then you have another issue with the Force. Oh, how are they Force Skyping? What is that? Well, that's very similar to a Force bond that we saw in the KOTOR game with Revan and Bastilla. They had a Force bond. They had shared dreams. So what's so different about them Force Skyping? Not so much. They could communicate over quite a long distance. So can Rey and Kylo. I liked that. It expanded the lore and the mystery of the Force. We don't know much about the Force. We complained when we learnt a bit, that as midichlorians. And now, when we don't understand it, we're like, oh, you didn't explain that. Because it's a mystery. So, I'll probably get shouted out in the comments from my friends explaining all these. This is why I didn't have an issue with any of their criticism, apart from the fish maids. And slightly Canterbury, yes, but I wanted to see other planets. And I think Canterbury is a great city on that planet. And I would love to see it again, but just maybe used in a better way. Now, do any of my reasons change your mind? Probably not. I respect your opinion. This is my opinion. I hope you can respect mine. My friends probably don't, but never mind. Until next time, that was an Aussie giving his opinion on why the Last Jedi haters are wrong.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, do hit that like button or head down to the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for the latest videos. May the Force be with you.